Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar brought to you by Signbird, our friend John James, the founder of Signbird and OneScreen. I'm Jean Hopkins, the CRO, and also Alexis is our producer today. So she's going to be answering questions in the Q&A as well as the chat. I'm pretty sure all of you are on mute right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to wait until another minute or two as everybody gathers their seat. We want them to be able to sit down and take notes and do all that. And then Alexis is going to kick us off with a few housekeeping notes. We really thank you for coming today. We're very excited about this presentation. John and myself and Alexis and Jen on the Signbird side, we've been putting together a lot of information that we thought would be valuable for our audience. So we're so glad you're here.
So today the webinar will be recorded and you'll receive a recording next week. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A and we'll have the speakers answer them. And if we don't get to any, then we will have the speakers follow up.
Okay, Alexis, what are we going to talk about today? What do you think?
So today we have our webinar on how to generate leads while you're sleeping. And today's speakers are Jean Hopkins, Chief Revenue Officer at OneScreen.ai, and John James, founder of Signbird.
So we were just talking, John James and I, that my husband and I have twin 24-year-old daughters. They turned 24 years old today. And John just told me he's an identical twin, he and his brother. So that was pretty cool to be able to make that connection.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we were talking about, Jen, is why do you, not Jen, sorry, Alexa, Jen isn't here. John, why a website? Why do you have a website for yourselves? And we have the homepage for Signbird up here, and we have the homepage for OneScreen. But it really is the front door. It's the front door of your company, and this is how people enter into it. And we also know from a lot of research that's out there that when people are searching for something, the more highly educated you are, the less likely you are to actually click on a paid ad. You might look for something like, look for Nordstrom, but you're going to go deeper into it. So you're not clicking on the links that say ad. You're going to be looking for something content related. And when you're invisible, you don't have as many sales because people expect to find you. They expect to find you on the interwebs, and they're always looking for up-to-date information. And John, you deal with a lot of out-of-home publishers, media suppliers that are always looking to improve their digital footprint, if it will. What are some of the things that you try to address?
Sure. So, I mean, we get asked quite often about what makes a great website. And I think, you kind of have to go to the foundation a little bit and think to yourself, well, it's 2022, pretty much everybody, can get a website very quickly. However, when you have a fishing pole, right, which is a website without any bait, which is your content, you're not going to catch anything. So, we try to steer at least the conversations we have with media owners and billboard companies is you can have a website, but is it content, is there marketing content collateral on that site that are going to warm leads up, get them very excited, and pick up the phone or fill out the contact form on your website to learn more about your company, and most importantly, the content you're sharing with them. It's conveying an experience, right? A potential experience for that advertiser to have on your inventory. They want to call you to see how they can have that experience that you're showing them, right? With this content, heavily content marketing collateral website that they're engaging with. So, it's all about, not to get long-winded, Gene, but it reminds me of a quote. Bill Gates talked about content is king. Absolutely, 100%. That quote was from 1996 about the internet. It's still very true today. Content is king.
Content is king. I have to agree. And a website is queen. So without the king and the queen together,
I like that.
You checkmate.
Yeah.
So Alexis just tossed a poll up there asking, how confident are you in your online presence? And for the people that are on this call, if you could, do you feel confident? Do you feel like you need help, or you have no idea because you just don't pay attention to it? So I think we're going to close the poll in about 3, 2, 1. And what it says is about half of the people feel confident and half feel that they need help. Well, that's reasonable. At least nobody said no ideas. So everybody understands how important the digital footprint is for a company. So bringing us to search engine optimization, or SEO as it's called. And I know that Signbird doesn't do SEO specifically, but the whole concept behind it is the Google machine, as I like to call it. We're all trying to solve for the Google algorithm. You want to be able to get found, you want to get good quality, and you want good quantity. And the way Google works is very interesting. And having worked at HubSpot, the way that we discussed it is Google will come and check out your website. They'll come and look at onescreen.ai or signbird.com, and they'll go and they'll look at your particular website. And if you have new content, they'll say, oh, new content. So I'm going to come back here faster the next time. So if they were coming once a month, they'll go once every 2 weeks. And then if you have more fresh content, they'll go once every week. Well, at HubSpot, we were posting content about once an hour. And so it was constantly getting listed. We were constantly ranking, and those pages were being indexed by the Google machine. So on the flip side of that, no content, no fresh content, nothing new. That's why you have a blog, because it's pretty easy to create a blog and be able to regularly post content. So if you don't have new information, if you don't have anything new on your particular website, Google will come and they're like, oh, there's nothing. So I'm going to wait an extra month. So it comes back 2 months later, no new content. They're going to come back 3 months later. And that's because that's how the algorithm works. So the whole idea of posting fresh content is nothing more than acting like a magnet, is bait. It's bait. It's Google bait, if you will, to be able to get found. So it's something that you need to consider as part of an organization in terms of what you're trying to do. So let's talk about, and let's not talk about, oh, and I'm going backwards, John. Oh, geez. So what makes a digital footprint? We talked about digital footprints, and I speak a lot about this because I talk to a lot of people that are in their 40s and 50s, and they don't have a presence. They don't have a LinkedIn presence. They don't have any kind of a digital footprint whatsoever. So here you are as an individual running a company, or your company as well doesn't have a LinkedIn business page, doesn't have a Google My Business page. So what are you trying to do as a company? So how do you try to solve this for people, John, when they come to you to ask for help?
Right. So, Signbird being a marketing content, we generate photos, video, ride sheet designs for our clients. And there's so many free tools out there. And I hate to, or I don't want to get very simplistic, but with the tools, but just looking at the icons there that you have on your slide, right? Like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, extremely heavy content-based platforms. Right. And they depend on users, right? They depend on you to make the platform more valuable, right? I have found, and I'm trying to put my when I was selling out a home, trying to put my salesman hat on, right? Because I think, maybe the question some of the viewers here who are joining us on the webinar might be asking themselves, well, what kind of content should I be posting about? Like, what is actually going to be valuable, right? When I was selling out a home, I would take a photo of every single advertiser that I had a part in playing and getting up on an out of home on a billboard, right? I would take a photo of it. I would tag them. I would tag the city. I would tag the brand. I would tag the person who I sold it to, every single thing. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, I have like 5 followers on Facebook. Well, you know what? I know as a relationship building opportunity, sharing the world that you are proud that your billboard with that advertiser, tagging them, their company, everything, and sharing it with the world is going to build, hey, that salesman over at that billboard company greatly appreciates my business. And your social media accounts now become basically a
channel for sales.
Yeah, it's a library. It's
for
it's
Instagram.
A database. Right. So an advertiser might come across your Facebook account with 5 followers, but that's okay because you're going to have a library of content showing, wow, look at all of these great brands that are advertising on your inventory, and you're giving them shout outs and praise and showing how appreciative you are of their business. Like it communicates something, and that's pretty low hanging fruit, in my opinion. You don't have to pay for Facebook, right? And you don't have to pay for these accounts.
No.
Go out and take a photo and tag everybody in the,
Well, and it's a good point that nobody takes a picture of their photo of a Google AdWords or a Facebook campaign, but the whole imagery and everything that's associated with real world marketing with outdoor advertising is so critical and it's so visual in terms of the campaigns that can be done, will be done, are being done, and that makes for a great feed, a great way to be able to share it. But I also think we do a lot with our own LinkedIn account. Jenna Kaysen, that works on our Branded Buzz team, she's always highlighting the key things that are happening with our customers and our partners like you, being able to say, these are the cool things that are going on in the industry. And it's fun to be able to watch quite a bit. So let's go to the next. Okay, here we go. This is one thing that when I talk to marketers or I talk to small business people or any kind of business people, there's a couple of things. Do you know exactly who owns your domain name? Do you know who is responsible for renewing it? This is something that your domain can come up for renewal every 1 year, every 5 years, every 10 years. And if you don't know who owns it, you have a chance to be able to lose it. The other thing is, I really like when people can figure out who owns these different accounts, because inevitably somebody on your team somewhere started a Facebook account, started an Instagram account, or started a TikTok account. And it could be Debbie, it could be Fred, it could be Sam, it could be all these different people. They may or may not be with your company anymore. They could have been an intern. You have no way of getting into these accounts anymore. So being able to figure out who owns your digital footprint right now, being able to source that information, being able to put it all in one place, and using a tool like Hootsuite is a good example. You can use Hootsuite, load it up, and it can auto post for you. So you're not like actually going in there and doing 90 different things. You can take one campaign and post it to a number of different socials in an effort to get some visibility. The most important thing that I like people to look at is look up your domain, look at your Google My Business listing, see if it's accurate, it's the right telephone number, the right street address, the right information, and then test it by calling or sending an email and seeing who responds, because that is something very important. So here comes Alexis. She's asking a very good question. Do you know where all your social media accounts live? Do you remember your usernames and passwords? Is it written down somewhere? And it's always, whenever I join a new company, I always like to go through the tech stack. And my friend Aaron, who is also on this call right now, he has been going through and figuring out who started it, who owns it, what's the password, where are we with those individual things, because it's an asset for your company. So it's good. 2 out of 2 people know that where their social media accounts live. Do you remember your usernames and passwords? And they also say yes. So I don't know if anybody else wants to answer a question. That's pretty good. All right, so we're going to close the poll. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. And then we're going to move on to the next question, the next slide, and you have to bear with me. This is Jen. Jen knows where all of your accounts are.
Yeah. Let me give a quick shout out to Jen real quick. So Jim McQuaid is our content manager at Signbird, and very early on it became important, right, that we have a grasp on our digital footprint at Signbird. And so we use a great tool called Sendable. We are familiar with Hootsuite, but we use Sendable. So we're able to post in one click, able to post across several platforms, right, all at the same time. And it's a great way to, it's a great way just to manage your digital footprint. And so huge shout out to Jen.
Yay, Jen.
You're the best. Thank you, Jen.
So one of the things that we as marketers like to make sure is that we're getting more of our best customers to come back frequently and spend more. That's ultimately the goal, right? I mean, it's sales and marketing, and finding more customers just like what we have. There's a basic funnel, a sales funnel. A lot of times what happens is many marketers concentrate strictly on the top of the funnel. And in reality, there's a lot of reason to be able to, and I talk about this a lot, not in this particular setting, but with customers, in order to reduce churn. Alexis, for example, who's producing this webinar, she does a customer newsletter. And this customer newsletter highlights campaigns, highlights partners, highlights what we're doing as an organization that would be of interest to customers, not just where not everything is a prospect, but you're just trying to talk to people in your voice with your brand. There's a lot to be said for a more sophisticated funnel in terms of the kinds of content that you might want to create at each stage. And as John said, that content is king and the website is the queen in this particular. So this is how you fill up your website in terms of individual content. It doesn't need to be super difficult. You can just do one thing at a time. I recommend highly using a blog, using social media. But really think about cleaning up your footprint. Make the customer's experience positive. Make sure that they can find you, that they know where you are, that your telephone number works, that your forms work, that somebody is responding within a reasonable amount of time. Remove or update information that is no longer relevant. Contribute routinely to your website so the Google machine will keep coming and knocking at your door, and talk about SEO best practices. So a lot of times this is what we were talking about. So kind of went through this little education component on a website and why we think content is so important. But most importantly, and this is what John is going to be talking about, is that imagery, the actual act of imagery, becomes critical. And we had a discussion in our next webinar in 2 weeks. He's going to talk about how the principal value of video and drone footage and actual photography really adds so much value, so much better value to the content on your website. But why don't you talk a little bit about this, John?
Sure. So, in terms of OneScreen.ai and Signbird working together, is that what you're asking, Jean, to talk a little bit about?
Sure.
How we're working together. So, and in fact, we got a couple more slides here, but so when it comes to the imagery, especially in the out-of-home space, we have such a visual product, right? And the way people are buying out of home and in reviewing it, whether it be a proposal or a photo or a video, it's all happening. Most of it's happening in the digital space, right? When I was selling out of home several years ago, we would do market rides with people sitting in the car. We'd ride the market together. I wonder how many market rides are, and I'm sure they are happening, but how many of them are happening now in a post-COVID world?
Yeah, I don't know. Heather, who's one of our media planners and strategists, she oftentimes talks about doing the market rides and going around, and she had a giant book of all the videos. She lives in Florida, and she all the boards that she worked on, and so it was kind of a manual process. And when she talks about the huge binder to be able to get decent pictures, and one of the things that we notice is sometimes when we're doing media planning, came up the other day too, that the media planning actually they were looking for something, and I think it was in rural Michigan or Minnesota or something like that, and the images that they had on their website were terrible. So I think Heather had to go in and go to Google Street View and try to find a better view so that the prospect that we were building this campaign for would have a better image. Now, wouldn't that be perfect for Signbird?
Well, Google Street View, I can tell you this, was not designed or implemented for the out-of-home industry.
No.
It was not. Now it kind of becomes this sort of like, well, it's kind of like the fail-safe. Well, just go to Google Street View and let's get a kind of an idea of where that billboard is located, right? Now, as an operator, it's kind of like your Band-Aid situation, right? Like, okay, I'll just go to Google Street View. But as a media buyer, do media buyers, I guess the big question is, do media buyers want to see Google Street View? Like,
probably not. And so what we're trying to do is make it easier to buy and sell out of home. So one of the things that we've been able to build together with our friends at Signbird is these embeddable maps with partners that are listed in our directory, that we have the ability, when people come on board and we upload their inventory, we're able to build these maps. And why is this important? Well, you want to be able to click on one of these points and be able to look at a real image. This is how leads happen when you're sleeping. Okay, when you have a website, it's up 24/7. Okay, you're not relying on somebody to only be available to take a telephone call from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. This allows you to be able to have as much visibility as possible. I want to get to all the great stuff that John has here. By having these embeddable maps on your website, showing your content and using a package from Signbird that gives you the best kinds of visuals overview, you're going to be able to show your inventory and be able to sell it. I mean, that's ultimately what we're all trying to do, right? We want to help you sell by giving you these options for these forms to be able to help you be able to sell, receive leads 24/7, even while you're sleeping. And it only takes a couple of minutes. Kyle Ritchie, who is our customer success manager for the media supplier side of our business, is instrumental in getting people on board. We just onboarded one of your referrals, Kennedy Outdoor, and he is loving it because he finds that now he's going to have enough time to be able to hire another person to be able to help out. Because by having this overlay of the one screen product and directory and the embeddable maps and the forms and everything, which don't cost anyone a penny, right? By having all that, he does everything. He's a one-man shop, but he's so excited about what we're able to do for him. And now I want everybody to be able to see some of this awesome footage. When we were doing the dry run yesterday, I was just like, wow, this is so cool. So why don't you explain a little bit about this?
Yeah, sure. So maybe like a 30-second thing about Signbird, and then we'll go into the. So Signbird was formed because of a problem I was experiencing as a boots on the ground sales rep for a billboard company. And I would grab my camera, I would get to work and take my own photos and video and everything like that. And there was a common problem, whether I sold in Alabama or Texas or South Carolina, there was a content issue on on any billboard that I was trying to sell to an advertiser. And I had to put our best foot forward as an industry, as a billboard company. We had to put in the proposal process, we have to put our best foot forward. And a 15-year-old photo that's taken on a gloomy day on a Nokia brick phone, like that's not putting your best foot forward. Like, it is funny, but like it happened, like it.
Well, I mean, it was something you knew it could get better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that was your stake in the ground, and you said, this is not ideal, but how can I make it better? And that's how Signbird was born, isn't it?
That's exactly how it was born. And so we now we have clients both publicly traded, and we have independent clients. We have clients who are one man army, so to speak, with maybe a handful of locations. We have a client who only has a static billboard, right? And on I-85 outside of Atlanta. So and that just goes to show you there are pain points in the out-of-home industry in the marketing process and how you are marketing your sign and your billboard structure. So that's how Signbird came to be. And so we offer something that we call a Signbird marketing package. And not to direct Alexis, but I was hoping we could go to the next slide. A quick mission statement, and this is our mission statement. It's been our mission statement from the beginning, right? And it's a big one, but it's what drives us to market for and add value to every out-of-home company in the world. And as of about 3 months ago, we have a client in Turks and Caicos,
wow,
on the island there. So
I think you had to go visit them, didn't you?
No, I wish. We're helping them out with website and some photo editing and things like that. But this is a pain point industry-wide. Like it is a pain point, and Signbird's setting out to solve it. But I have a video real quick. I think it encompasses kind of Signbird in a nutshell. This is to kind of set the table. This is a client of ours in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And to kind of talk over it, this is a billboard video proposal, and it's running prospects through a 60-second video of that billboard location. This is a digital 14x48 right there in Tulsa on the expressway. We're highlighting the small little selling points that they're talking about. This is a drive-by video taken in the evening during rush hour. There's the billboard right-hand read right there. We actually take the drone, hover it on top of a billboard structure, point it down at the traffic that it's targeting, putting people on top of the billboard. This is a nice little Glamour video showing off that ad copy, conveying a potential experience for the advertiser. And of course, we finish it with a wide angle shot, wrapping it up with the billboard company. Our clients are media owners, are billboard owners. We don't do anything in the real estate industry or the forestry industry. We're out of home. That is our focus. And so
everybody missed the groovy music that went along with that. You haven't, but some of us could hear the music. You guys didn't, because John wanted to be able to do a voiceover on that, but the rest of us were listening to groovy music in our headphones.
My team and I, like, we have these, this music on several client videos, and we all kind of have it stuck in our head at this point.
You can sing along, karaoke.
So I want to go through what at Signbird we believe are the deliverables for every sign that you put in front of a potential advertiser, especially in 2022, right? We want to set the standard of what advertisers will be engaging with when they want to know more about your billboard. I call this right here, we call this a signature cross-read approach shot, right? This is more of a setup. We're setting up at the right time across the, I believe this location, I'm thinking it was probably a 6-lane, maybe a 4 or 8-lane interstate, but
yeah, it looks big.
Cross read, we're setting up to where we're getting that ad copy at that specific time with all that traffic in the shot, right? Signature cross read. If you go to the next slide, Alexis, this would be your in-lane approach. The reason we took it this way is because, especially in Oklahoma, right, there's very long dwell times for these ads. We wanted to take an approach shot in lane, showing long dwell times, because an advertiser wants to know, like, okay, is this going to be a quick read behind a tree line, which there are billboards out there with quick read times. That's an advertiser doesn't want to know, like,
doesn't want that.
They don't want that.
That's part of the strategy and the planning. That's why planners are so important, right?
That's right. Long read times in lane. This is something we call a Glamour drone photo. I keep going back to this experience, right? Your marketing collateral should communicate an experience that advertiser is going to be able to enjoy if there are ads on that billboard. Well, we want a nice Glamour photo where we're able to read that entire ad copy on the board. But most importantly, and it's something that I think some out-of-home companies don't put enough focus on, we have to have traffic. Every shot has to have brake lights, has to have traffic in the shot. If you have a picture of a billboard with empty lanes, please don't put it in front of an advertiser. Because
what was it, 3 o'clock in the morning or something, right? That's what you're trying to show, that there is traffic, that there are people that are going to be going by the sign. That's a good point. I wouldn't have thought of that, John. That's a key point. I would have highlighted the sign, but in reality, what you're looking for is how many people are actually going to see it.
Well, that impression number that your spreadsheet's going to tell them, because we all have spreadsheets of our inventory. We're looking at those impression numbers. We want marketing collateral that is going to, if your spreadsheet is telling them what the weekly impressions are, we want a photo that's going to show them the weekly impressions, right? We want to show them that it's happening. Another Glamour photo here showing off the commercial area, sits right in front of a small little commercial shopping center. This is actually in North Alabama, where I'm from, New South Outdoor. Shout out to Neil Bell. with New South, right? This glamour photo that is conveying an experience. Let's go to the next one, Alexis. Large aerial shots. We have found that, yes, you might not be able to see the ad copy, but look at the skyline in the back, right? Look at the long read times of the interstate there, and look at all of the traffic, but also the commercial development around this billboard location. This is a happening spot in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like this is where everyone travels. I believe that's called the Broken Arrow Expressway. We did a lot of stuff in Tulsa. The actual road escapes me at the moment, but this is the happening spot. You don't need to know at this point, you don't need to know what the name of the road is. You know that this is a happening spot, commercial activity. That drone photo shows that.
Right. And you get a real sense of scale. And then this was important about highlighting the inventory using video. I thought this was fascinating.
So that is, we shot that one in Los Angeles, California.
Okay. And hence the traffic.
Hence the traffic, right? But I was looking up, especially in the early days of Signbird, using video, right? Like photo is quick. It communicates very quickly. Video, of course, requires more of a time investment depending on how long the video is. But how can you replace active, moving, and even you're noticing stoplight intersections where people are stopped at, and the video keeps going, and if it kept going, you would see that there is a major interstate that is passing that billboard along with the road,
the street levels, and so surface roads, and then the highway right above it. So
absolutely. And look at there, Chick-fil-A's on that billboard.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A. Gotta love the Chick-fil-A. And so you have some more here.
Yeah, just video content, right? Moving cars, and also stopped cars, right, at intersections. Video, I'm going to butcher the statistic, and I probably shouldn't even say it because I got to look it back up, but a large percentage of people are now think about Instagram, Facebook, like all these social platforms, video, not to like say anything over Bill Gates, but content is king, but video is also like king as well.
An emperor. Maybe it's the emperor.
Right. Like
the czar.
Like when have you not been presented a play button and you haven't clicked play?
Well, I hate it when it auto plays, because inevitably it auto plays when I don't want it to or something. And then, I got this background noise going on. That's crazy. But look at how beautiful this is. And I know that, we have Heather, who's on the call right now, one of our strategists and media planners, and she looks very, very carefully at where screens are and how they're going to be perceived. But this is really important for an advertiser and for a marketer to be able to provide context. Right. And then what we're trying to do with the videos and everything that's being created by Signbird is putting it into our directory so that you don't need a spreadsheet. You have the ability to build a campaign, build flights, being able to build it all within the one screen platform using data, using how many people. You get that measurable concept of it so you can get away from spreadsheets. But I know Heather has spent a lot of time building spreadsheets to be able to prove that this area, this city, this town is good for your prospects, whether you're trying to do account-based marketing or you're trying to target a specific ideal customer profile. That's why these things become so important. Well, we want to have a chance to be able to answer. I think that there's a few questions. Are there questions, Alexis?
Let's give them a few minutes to put some questions in. I don't see any right now.
Okay.
You want to go to the special offer, the next slide? And
sure, I'll do that. And Kyle Ritchie, who's on this, we're going to be, in exchange for providing feedback on the One Screen platform, you'll get a package from Signbird. We at One Screen have done a deal. We did a deal, right, John? We did a deal with Signbird.
A deal that in my opinion, like users of the One Screen platform are getting the better end of that deal, right? Like, how could you not
take advantage of it, right?
Take advantage of being an early exclusive user and for providing feedback on the OneScreen platform and you get a great Signbird marketing package in return for your inventory, like
it's win-win. And you get to work with Kyle Ritchie, who's amazing. Because he's one of the nicest human beings on the planet. So he's been helping people get onboarded by loading their inventory, teaching them how to do campaign planning, teaching them how to do everything. But having a really awesome photography, that's really going to help you as an organization. It's going to help you amazingly to be able to create leads while you're sleeping.
And to name drop Richard Kennedy for a moment, Kennedy Outdoor, we just wrapped up in Ohio a couple days ago, doing exactly that. Like Richard's taking advantage of this as a media owner. And, you know, I would encourage everyone to reach out and ask questions about this offer because it's a really good one. If you're in a media, if you own media, if you're a billboard company, reach out to us and take advantage of this offer. I think it's awesome. Great.
Thank you, John. So Alexis, any questions? You did a good job with the polls.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so our question is, what should a media supplier have on their website in terms of visuals?
That's a John James question if I ever heard
for sure, for sure. Let's go to this next slide. Let's go to maybe one more. I think it's the video. Maybe one more.
Oh, the last one.
Yeah, it's the last one. So this is a client of ours, Roar Outdoors, Zach Hogue, in this is the static I told you about in I-85 in Atlanta, right? So we did a combo. We did his website. Boom, there's the website. It's going to scroll through it real quick. His site is so strategically simple, right? We have layered it with great photos. The first thing you see when the site loads is the promo video, the drone video of his inventory with, look at all the traffic right there. Stopped at the stoplight, all on I-85. It's the first thing you see. I think, to answer that question, you got to put images and video as the first thing you see when you go to that site. You want to immediately hook them, right? Like a song hook, right? Like when you write a hook in a song, you want to keep them for the next 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes of the song, right? The video content, the first thing you see on your site, that's the hook. That's the hook that's going to keep them. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let me explore the site a little bit. Let me look at these locations. Let me look at the value that I could get by investing in this out-of-home advertising medium. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, video, the first thing they see on your site.
Look at that traffic on 85. Nothing like a little bit of blockage there.
Yeah, I mean, lone factor right there is enjoying a great billboard location. That's for sure.
Yeah. And so that's fantastic. And an SMP, for those of you that don't know, is a Signbird marketing package.
That's right.
And we'll be following up with people that have registered for this event and follow up. And we're asking you to think about our next webinar, where actually John is going to be presenting the information that he presented at the Independent Billboard Owners Conference earlier this month in Kansas City. And he's going to talk about why video, why photography. So he's going to analyze what happened with Airbnb and how Airbnb was like kind of stumbling along, but once they got the hook of professional photography, their business grew. Was it 6x or something? They had 6x the bookings.
It was nuts, and they did this all in New York City, and it's a great case study, and shows the importance and shows human behavior and how we are all engaging and making purchasing decisions, especially when it comes to where you're going to sleep that night in New York City for Airbnb, right? So it's very important, and they saw the value in it and they doubled down in it. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Great. We're looking forward to it, John. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And Alexis, everything went well. So I was wrong. I was wrong that something's always going to go wrong with a webinar. So congratulations. You did a great job, and we're very happy about doing the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you.